farming can be very challenging but equally rewarding. This week on The
Definitively.
Ghanaian Farmer, we are all the way in the central region, precisely Cape Coast, in a community called AAK. And what we are going to be discussing this week or on this episode is to enlighten farmers who are still having their plant or their crops on their farm during this dry season. What are some of the activities that you need to put in place to ensure enough moisture for your crops during the dry season? My name is Enyunam, and this is the Ghanaian Farmer. Subscribe, share all the videos you've been watching, and leave a comment from where you're watching. You can follow us on our social media platform, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and on YouTube. So we are going to be talking to a farmer, a very young farmer who does turmeric, who has plantain, and of course, a bit of oil palm. We'll be chit-chatting with him briefly. What are some of the activities he's doing? And we'll also be talking to Mr. Daintu. He is the officer here at AAK. I'll get his details more when I get to meet him for him to tell us who he is, how he helps farmers in this district. But for now, let me go for a quick breather. When I come back, Mr. Daintu will be joining me soon. Okay, so thanks for staying. If you just tune in, you're watching The Ghanaian Farmer. My name is Zanyonam, and we're coming to you all the way from Cape Coast, precisely in a community called
Aswansi.
Aswase. And working with me in this farm is Mr. Deichu, and you are who in Mofa?
I'm the district agric officer for extension.
Okay, all right. So this week, we want to enlighten our farmers about dry season farming and some of the activities that you have to do during dry season. Now, first of all, when a layman who doesn't know much about agriculture hears the word dry season farming, what are we talking about?
Well, dry season farming is the period of time when the rain-fed uh, water is subside and
Okay,
a farmer plans to still go into production.
okay,
There's not much moisture in the
right.
field, but he tries to make some agronomic practices and other things so that he will get ideal situation for farming to go on.
Okay. All right. So, what are some of the plants or crops that a farmer can produce during the dry season?
Well, with respect to vegetables, normally farmers around our district go into marsh areas
Okay.
for vegetable production.
Right.
That place, they have access to moisture, and even some of them dig wells and they use it to irrigate their farms.
Okay.
On the other hand, too, if you want to produce in an area that you don't have access to
Water.
enough water, you do mulching and other things that will enhance the soil humidity
Okay.
for production to
Production.
go on.
Okay. So, I want us to mention some of the crops because
Okay.
over here I can see plantain
Yeah.
and I can see oil palm.
Okay.
What other crops can you still maintain and you still do well even in dry season?
As for the tree crops, when there is dry season, they do well.
Okay,
But with
tree crops
respect to
aside plantain and oil palm, what else?
oranges,
Okay.
citrus in
Okay.
general,
Okay.
and oil palm,
Right.
um, mangoes and other things,
Okay. They can all do
they do
well.
well. They can
They can
withstand the
withstand the dry
drought
season.
for some
Okay.
time. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So during such a time, when let's say I already have my plantain because I saw the farmer actually cutting or harvesting some of the plantain
Okay.
for us to go with.
Okay.
What are some of the activities do you suggest that a farmer would do to maintain the moisture in the soil? Because I've realized that I let the cameraman, he is weeding. What are some of the activities that I'm supposed to do? Do I weed or I leave the bushy around my plants?
Well, in an ideal situation, you don't leave the field to be so bushy
Okay.
because it will compete with the main crops on the field for nutrients. So what you do is when the rain subside, you just have to clear the land and leave the debris on the field
Okay.
to maintain moisture, and also
Right.
when situations are ideal, they decompose and also enhance the nutrient buildup in the soil.
Okay.
So normally that is what they do. Others too prefer to do round weeding
Mm.
around the crops
Mm.
and then leave some of the lower weeds on in between the plants
Okay.
for them to maintain that
Okay. All right. So let's,
humidity. Yeah.
in case I come to actually maybe cut the grass, do I move it off or I should leave them lying on the farm this way?
The best way is to leave the debris, the plant debris or
Okay.
the weeds
Mm.
to be on the field, conserve moisture, then when it decays, it
Mm.
improves the soil fertility
Okay.
on the soil. Because normally here they don't use fertilizer
Mm.
as
Mm.
other places they
Mm.
do.
Mm.
So normally that's what helps them
Okay.
to maintain it.
Looking here, we is that a plantain I'm seeing?
Yes,
That's a plantain. What
yes.
variety is this?
This is a pintu.
A pintu.
Yeah.
Okay, for fufu.
You
The
can use
usual
it for
fufu.
abesi and fufu.
Okay. All
The two
right.
can.
So at this season when we don't have enough water, do you think that it will still be able to develop and become big?
Once here is not a marshy area, you can't get the branches as big as
You won't.
when it is on the marshy area.
Okay.
You get the tube, the branches, but it's
Right.
not as big as where there's enough moisture
Okay.
for it to enlarge the branches. Yeah,
Right. Okay. Okay. But it will still do well
yeah, it
though.
will soon do well.
Okay. Is it the dry season that is making? I've seen most of the leaves are all drying and falling.
Yes,
Falling.
yes,
Is it as a result of the dry season?
yes. Even when the dry season is more severe, even
Mhm.
you see some of the plantain stand falling off
Okay.
just because the soil is deprived
Of
of
water.
water. Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
you see
I see.
many of them
Right.
falling down. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, in that case, what do you advise? People who are into plantain, oil palm, mango, citrus, and all that. What do you advise? Do you advise I dig a well on my farm so I can have water to still give me bumper harvest to make enough money during the dry season, or what do I do?
Ideally, that is what I advise. But
Okay.
normally, when we do that, they say they don't have the financial capacity to do that.
Okay.
So normally, they normally do as I'm talking, what you
Mm-hmm.
see on the field
Mm.
by weeding and then leaving the debris for the uh, ready to decompose and also maintain moisture on the field.
Oh, okay.
But those who are in the marshy areas who
Mm.
go into vegetables and other arable
Mm.
crops, so they normally use
Mm.
the because there's access to
Mm.
water belt there.
Okay.
They dig well and then use it
Okay.
for the irrigation of their vegetable crops. Yeah.
All right. Okay, so last question. Before I let you go and then invite the farmer to join me. He mentioned that on this particular land, he has turmeric,
And
he has
ginger.
the ginger as well,
Yeah.
he has the plantain, and then I can see a bit of pawpaw here, and I can see oil palm. Too many things happening on the same land. Is that good? Is that a good practice?
In crop science, we don't normally, especially when you grow tree crops,
Mm-hmm.
you don't normally have to intercrop with many other crops.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe one intercrop,
Mm.
that's even for a period.
Okay.
When they start joining their canopies, you
Yeah.
leave for them to get enough listen.
Okay.
They normally do their plantations and then intercrop with other cassava or
Right.
other maize on other things too,
Okay.
just to have access to other sources of funds so that they
Okay.
can maintain the major
Yeah.
crop that is
Yeah.
the tree crop.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
the normal planting. But it's
Mm,
not good to plant maybe 4 or 5 crops
mm,
in a plantation.
mm.
It's not
Okay.
the best.
It's not the best.
Yeah.
Okay. So just one vegetable in
Yes.
between the
Yes.
three crops is okay,
Yes.
but not more than that.
Yes.
All right. So that's a tip for you. If you have a farm and you don't know what to do during the dry season, Mr. Denju has helped you to know some of the activities to put in place. And of course, those of you who said, "Oh, I have a tree crop, a long-term crop, so I want to do a bit of mixed cropping or crop," it is good, but don't do more than
Yeah.
you were supposed to do. Now, that's one main challenge or one main thing that we are advocating against, which is bushfire, being it voluntary or involuntary. And the climate is affecting our production. It is causing inconsistency in the rain pattern. What do we do? Behind me, I'll let the camera show you. Behind me, or let's take a walk to that place. You can see that uh, another farm or another land that is
Has been
just
cleared
close
and
by the farm we are actually talking in. There is bushfire here that is happening here. Mr. Dentu, this practice, what do you do as an extension officer when you come to the community? Do you enlighten them against this practice?
yes, in a sense that when they do this, normally there are some microbes in the soil that enhance porosity and infiltration.
Okay.
So when they constantly do this, it affects
It
their buildup
dies.
in the soil,
Mm,
and it doesn't help the well-being of the crop that will be established on that field.
okay.
So we normally preach against burning
Yes.
because it doesn't help the
Mm,
structure of the soil.
mm.
So some of them listen, some of them are
Will not
recalcitrant.
listen.
So we try to tell them the best thing to do, but
Okay. Okay.
you know how our farmers, how
I
they
know our
behave. Yeah,
farmers. I know our
I
farmers
mean,
are very, very
yeah,
stubborn. So it means that this thing will go a long way to affect the nutrients and the fertility
yes,
of the
the
soil,
microbes.
the
So
microorganisms
yeah,
in the soil. And so if a farmer is watching you who is also into this practice, what dangers will you warn them that they are going to, in the long term, is going to affect the crop they are going to produce on such a land?
the danger is
Mm,
the soil needs microbes to uh, enhance infiltration
mm,
and then porosity.
okay.
So when they constantly do that, it affects the micro buildup of the
The
soil.
soil.
So we advise against going into zero tillage or minimum tillage.
Okay.
But normally, some of them complain that if they weed for the first time, working on the field is tedious for them. They normally are financially handicapped.
Okay.
So normally, by way of going faster, they normally burn
Set
the
fire and
thick
see.
weeded vegetation on the field, and from then they stop the burning.
Ah,
That's what they do.
I
But we
see.
advise them that
Mm-hmm.
it is better to weed early
Yes.
than leave the debris to be on the field, rot, and then
Mm.
enhance the fertility of the soil.
Than you
The
burning.
burning, yeah.
Okay. All right. So viewers, that said, the Ghanaian farmer, and we're all the way in the Cape Coast, but this community is called
Swansea.
Aswanse. And my boss here with me, Mr. Denchu, he has enlightened us about dry season farming activities to keep your farm well moist. And of course, he's giving you warning. Climate is disturbing. Climate is causing a consistent in the farming
Yeah,
practices.
yeah.
And one of the challenges that is causing fertility to the fertility of the soil to go down is this practice. So if you're out there and this is what you do during or preparing towards the farming season, please put an end to it. It's not helpful. I'm going for a quick breather. When I come back, the farmer will be joining me to tell me slightly or briefly about his farming journey and what he has been going through all this while. Thanks. I will be right back after this break. All right, so gone by was an insightful conversation with Mr. Denchi, who has enlightened us about dry season farming and some of the activities to do to actually put in place or make sure your farm is still looking very moist during the dry season. Now, I'm walking towards Augustine Apia Kubi. He's an exuberant and hardworking, active young farmer in this community. I'm going to be seeing him very soon and find out from him what has been the inspiration for becoming a farmer and why did he even settled on, ginger, turmeric, and plantain. So let's get to see Augustine. He's busily working because the season for farming is coming. And so he needs to get his land ready and make sure that Moment the rain starts, he's also ready to work. Hey, what for Augustine? I'm special pa.
Nkometie
Boko dear.
mkoa na also
Nyamiadum. Ghanaian farmer is here to visit Augustine. Augustine tells me you have how many acres of farmland?
2.5 acres right now.
2.5 acres.
About right.
Okay. Augustine, how long has it been since you started farming? In Fiebe,
Oh, few 25 years.
25 years.
Yes.
Wow, that's been a long time.
Yeah.
Okay. How come you started with plantain? Which one did you use? Turmeric, ginger, plantain, oil palm. Which one did you start first?
Ginger.
You started ginger first.
Yes, please.
I know now the chassis.
And I'm the chassis.
Who introduced you to ginger farming?
My father.
Your father.
About
Oh,
right.
he does ginger farming.
Yes.
Okay. Then later on, you added
I added turmeric and then
turmeric,
yeah,
and then followed by
followed by the plantain and then cuckoo and other crops like oil palm that you see.
okay, okay. So let's walk a bit. Why did you settled or add more crops? I mean, you're doing ginger. Sana Unyeska, you are making money.
Yeah, yeah.
So why
This
did you
guy.
add plantain, cocoa, and those things? Why?
Okay, before the na
Mm-hmm.
me ginger, but
Okay.
me sure who say before
Uh-huh.
I be do ginger no.
Mm.
Yɛtwa nnua no bebree tu.
Okay.
Ɛna nowadays nso
Mm.
yɛsua nneɛma bebree.
Okay.
Nti nneɛma sua nim no yɛsɛ wotwa nnua bebree gu a,
It's not good.
it's not good.
Yes.
Ɛna anytime biara wodua crop baako nso a
Yeah.
ɛnyɛ.
Yes.
Nti mehwɛ hu sɛ
Uh-huh.
ɛsi a no ɛwɔ sɛ nnua no a metwa gu no meyɛ
Yeah.
dɛn
You stop.
replace no.
Okay.
Nti sɛ medua kaduro no saa no a
Mm-hmm.
either sɛ medua kookoo,
Okay.
medua rubber anaasɛ
Right.
medua abɛ sɛdeɛ ɛbɛyɛ a nnua no a meyi ne nneɛma no a meyi firi
Yeah.
asase no so nyinaa no
Yeah.
by the end a mafudie no nyinaa bɛfiri asase no so
Okay.
saa nneɛma no nso ayɛ dɛn arecover.
Okay.
Ɛna nnuaba no nso a medua nnuane no nso ginger no nko anytime bia wontumi ntua no wɔ asase baako so ma no
Of
nyɛ yie.
course. Of course.
Ɛna wontumi nni ginger nso saa ma no nyɛ yie.
Aha.
Nti
Hey, appears to me it's a strategic man.
nti etomle bi
Right.
a ɛyɛ a mehwɛ hu sɛ wobɔ afuom koraa na at least dasɛn ne nneɛma wɔ ha a wɔ sɛ ɔno
You can
aduane
cook
di.
something and cook. So I was
Ɛna
asking Augustine why he was doing ginger and he did not just focus on producing ginger. And he says, listen, if you want to do ginger, you have to clear all the trees on the land to produce ginger. And also, it means that you have to wait, harvest your ginger, plant ginger again. And that is not economical, that is not sustainable. So he was advised by his directors or the boss who comes around that listen, instead of doing just ginger, you can introduce other crops to add up. So when you harvest ginger, the next time you are harvesting plantain, the next time you're harvesting something else. That way, even when he comes to the farm, he's able to cook something to eat. He knows that if this month I'm harvesting this, the following month I'll be harvesting something else. Is that not
yes,
it?
yes, it's true.
Good man, good man. You've done well. So how will you describe the journey? Ubeka say 25 years. It's saying how has it been? Are you good?
Mebatwɛ ayɛ
Farming,
good pa. Ɛyɛ kama
are
paa.
you sure?
Meyɛ sure paa.
Deɛ nti na ɔkasa? Deɛ nti na ɔbɛkasa?
Oh, deɛ nti a mɛka saa ne sɛ
Mhm.
sɛ woyɛ farmer a
Yeah,
sɛdeɛ others na ɔmonyɛ farmer si berɛ no
yeah.
womfa saa berɛ no mu bi.
Okay,
Because one wowɔ aduane.
right.
Ɛna two anytime biara nso wowɔ biribi wɔ hɔ a biribi to a
Yeah.
wotumi tɔn na like ɔmo ɛwɔ hɔ na sɛ biribi to na obi a ɔyɛ adwuma foforɔ no na sɛ wɔnni sika da hɔ a ɔsɛ ɔkɔpɛ bosia.
Exactly.
But wode wowɔ ne time biara wowɔ biribi wɔ asase so a
Mm.
critical moment biara no wobɛtumi sacrifice na ada yɛ dɛ
Okay.
wode
To take care of that.
ɛna aside from that no
Mm.
mpanyinfoɔ bebree farmers bebree a mehyia ɔmo nyinaa no ɔmo properties a ɔmo ayɛ nyinaa mfiri baabiara sɛ
It is
afuo
from
naa
farming.
na ɔmo yɛ no nti a most of the
Okay.
times no ka sɛ there is money in the soil.
Ah, so Augustine has summed it up all. I was asking him, is farming profitable? Is it worth it? And he says, of course. With farming, he's assured of healthcare, education. He can build a home. He can take care of a family. Um, as compared to those who are not doing anything, who said I don't want to do farming, and when he needs money, he has to go and be knocking on someone's door to be borrowing. That's not what he wants. He is farming, he has food to eat, he can take care of his family, he has some properties he's done from farming, and that's why people conclude that there is wealth in the soil. Augustine, yeah, that's a pass. I only a dinkomo. Now, what's the answer? Bra time when you be who turmeric ni ginger. What time
Oh,
do we come
by
back?
April, May, June going, but
Mm.
bana as I shall say,
Okay,
AP because for now, no,
right. But you have some here.
I be
Yeah, be
what here,
waha.
see, I be
Into
what
best me some my hair.
me patrol, I to a more.
Okay. Okay, so he wants to show me just to show me. We have some of the turmeric. Okay, first of all, before we wait to know.
Mm-hmm.
When I came, I realized that Augustine had buried or has left the turmeric in the soil. And I was asking him, why? Why do you leave them in the soil? Wouldn't they get rotting? And he was telling me something interesting. I then a turmeric no, where jai wa former won't 2 years.
Oh, the entire Major no form, let's say,
Yeah.
a bit more chance, I say, from now to maybe June, July, I
Okay.
feel back when he was so mean, see, and soon going.
Okay.
And yes, I
Okay.
want to say, be I find say, I feel back when he was so mean,
Mm.
fresh one buy and then
Yeah.
Rebecca, but that than I was as nice
Then
on
you know
in our
pro.
pro. So a bit more chance, I say, yeah, dear, you just say harvest to go and to say tomatoes now,
Yeah.
or harvest to go within a short time now,
Uh-huh.
the shelf life will finish a
Elusu.
hand,
Okay.
because another anytime be
Uh-huh.
it's already there for you throughout the
Okay.
year,
Okay.
and Tinya Devi and
All
Quasari.
right. Okay. But say obi pay bi ato hisi a obi tumi betutu akoma no.
Oh, we pay be to see here,
Obi
I'm
tumi
not
betutu.
tuning in area, Quacoman
Okay.
classes here.
Okay. So this is a way of preserving your planting material for the next season or when the commodity has less price. It's not in high demand or you don't have a proper storage facility. It is advisable that if you are into now, is this the same for ginger as well?
Yeah, it's the same for Ginger.
Okay, so those of you, except for those of you who are in ginger and turmeric, if you don't have market, you don't have a storage facility, you are not into processing, you better leave them in the soil. And he says you can go beyond even a year. It will be in the soil, still looking very fresh. But when it rains, it will start sprouting. And then maybe the old one would rot into the soil, the new ones would germinate, and you can harvest and go and sell. We are rounding up the interview. I'm going to let him prove to me. Maybe I know I am Azan. Let him prove to me that indeed there is turmeric in the soil. And then
Ginger,
we'll call it a day.
the Ginger is here, and then
Uh-huh. Ginger
tomato.
is here.
Yes,
Let me see Ginger. Me koya a nkakra. Hey, Ginger wa hampo. Ah, na we na ye di two na we na ye dey harvest it.
Yeah, they are so,
Ah,
but
so
as a sample, yeah,
and
they are
saw is
so, and
whole.
the
You have to
yeah,
use
whole.
whole to harvest. So for now, we have cutlass with Augustine. So okay, Augustine, don't harvest plenty.
We're
Don't
hoping
harvest
to
plenty.
meet you.
Okay.
So,
All right, guys. So
we
that's
say,
it.
yeah, the way need be into them
Ah,
did the next that's social for me,
okay.
and then it will give
So
me
that's it.
one question.
This is what he planted, and this is the result of the planting material. And you're careful, Munyeska. You said these people they make money, eh?
Yeah.
They'll be oh boy. Look at this is the small one he planted though. And when he harvested, do you see? And it still looks very fresh and cold because it is in the soil. So this is ginger.
Yeah, this is
All right.
ginger. Yeah.
Ginger. Let's move forward a bit. And then he will show us some of the turmeric as well for you to see. So this is a tip for if you want to go into ginger farming, you want to go into turmeric farming, but at the time your commodity is ready, you don't have market or it's not in high demand, and you don't want to sell it cheap, then the best advice is that you leave it in the soil. All right, you leave it in the soil until it is in high demand in the market for you to buy or for you to come and harvest and sell. So we are wrapping up our interview with Augustine, and he wants to show us where we can harvest some of his turmeric. In fact, he's even harvested some of the turmeric and intervene.
If I should be near,
Ah, okay. Ebi nso wɔ ha.
maybe so.
All right, so this is some of the turmeric, plenty. It looks just like the ginger, but it's not ginger. So please focus. Hey, turmeric no na abobɔ saa no.
See,
Hey,
so video just one thing,
okay.
then it will give you this, the whole
Wow.
this.
So this is it. He said you can just plant a small size like this. By the end of the day, when you harvest, this is it.
This is it.
Now, turmeric, it take how many months? Nenyini?
Oh, it depends. You will be Udiana or more to it. Any other time, so Udiana or the other.
Wood and how many months?
Maybe they do 7 months. Me to the tongue, or mom person
Okay.
mudi.
Okay.
But from 9, 10 going no.
Uh-huh.
Won't say ashase say to that time when you to me the dua.
Okay, so if you want it, you want to use it for as a planting material, you have to leave it in the soil for like say
Yeah,
9 months and
9,
beyond.
10 months,
Then you can
9 months and
harvest.
beyond. Yeah, that one you
Okay,
can
but
use.
if it's for consumption for cooking, then around 7
7 months
months
you can
you
use
should
it.
have it. That is for turmeric. Now ginger, ne?
Ninja no so the 8 months
Uh-huh.
wait my din fresh.
Okay.
Like 12 months going
Uh-huh.
in, we say
It
ashise ya
becomes a planting
planting
material.
material. That's it.
Okay, so that's it. A tip for you. Ginger within 8 months, you can harvest for your soup. The way I love banku and oku. You can harvest it and use to spice your chicken and fish. But if it's for planting material, around 12 months, you can actually harvest. Oh my goodness. Augustine, thank you very much.
You're
And
welcome, man.
congratulations.
Thank you.
Eh? One award you be there.
Oh,
And I
then
will go sober.
Megusuba,
All
like
right.
I say, Central Expo now. I'm
Okay.
say they give us some certificates
Anyway,
from.
I am rewarding you today. Are you on social media?
Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn,
LinkedIn?
Facebook,
Wow. So give us your handle. Share your
WhatsApp,
handle with us. What's your handle?
Okubis Farms on LinkedIn.
Okubis
Yes,
Farms.
Facebook Okubis Farms.
Okay, listen. If you want to look for Augustine, search for Okubis Farms on LinkedIn and Facebook.
Facebook,
Is
yeah.
that correct?
Yes, please.
Okay. If you search for these handles, Okubis Farms, on LinkedIn and Facebook, you would find him. And then you can have a conversation with him about ginger or turmeric farming. Everything that you need to know. But thank you so much.
You're
You're
welcome,
doing
madam.
so well. God bless you. So, do you know me on
Same.
LinkedIn?
No.
Ah, he doesn't know me. I would delete your interview. All right, so thank you very much for watching. My name is Anyanam, and this has been the Ghanaian Farmer, a very insightful moment for us here. And we believe that you've learned something that you can work with during this season. Until then, it's a bye from us. Bye bye.
Bye.